Hey everyone, it's Dan, and this is my Isamaru Hound of Voltron deck. So in case anyone hasn't seen the show Voltron or anything about that, basically the plan is to suit up a guy, and we're starting off with a 2-2 for 1. That's it. The plan is to play him on turn 1, and then you can start getting angry. This is probably one of the fastest aggro decks you're going to find in Commander ever, because it starts attacking turn 1 and really never stops. Yeah, we're going to start it off with my mana base, which is going to be a bunch of planes, because, of course, mono white kind of has to be. Let's see, when are we going to run out of planes? They're not fancy planes. Okay, we have run out of planes. Tunk. We've got, move on to some non-basics. We got this one, Scrying 1. It's pretty handy. You're probably, you're not going to play a turn 1, but you might play a turn 2 just to see what's coming up. Reliquary Tower, just in case. It's always good to have. Flagstones of Trocaire. If you're playing a white deck, you really want to have this, because if it ever dies, for instance, from Annihilator or someone blowing up all the lands because they were a jerk, you get a free plains. Sajiri's Step gives your commander protection from a color for 1 turn. Allows you to get through some nasty blockers. Myria the Sky Ruin. Handy if someone keeps killing off your commander, because you can bring it back to play from your graveyard every turn. Secluded Step, kind of a weird ad. I don't really use the cycling a whole lot, but it is handy if you've got a grip full of lands. Mystifying Maze, good for making sure you don't die, because you're not going to have a lot of blockers. Mirror in the Moaning Well. Someone wants to take your creature, tell them no, and gain some life in the process. Now we move on to some man lands. This deck didn't run any man lands for a while, but then I realized that when you don't have a lot of creatures in the deck, and you have a lot of other things that you want to suit up to your creatures, it's handy to have ways to suit them up. So now I've got Blinkmoth Nexus, and Mishra's Factory, and Dread Statuary, and Forbidden Watchtower, and Mutavault, and Inkmoth Nexus in the deck. Really nice to have, so that you can throw some equipments on them and swing in. Moving on to a few creatures that I have in the deck. It used to be no creatures, but that seemed kind of silly. So I've got Pure Steel Paladin, which is really snaztacular for equipping things, also for drawing cards when you play equipments. Nomad Mythmaker is really handy if someone kills a guy with a bunch of auras on him. You can just start getting them back. Auramancer is another way to get back your auras from your bin. Totem Guide Hearthbeast is good for getting your auras out of your library. There are some really nice ones you want to get. Then I've got Stonehewer Giant, which is probably the best way to go get equipments. We're going to move on now to some enchantments that aren't auras. We're going to start off with Ruined Halo. It's pretty nice, especially when someone else has got a really beefy commander. You can just kind of stop that business. Sacred Ground's really kind of handy if anyone wants to do, say, Annihilator at you. You just sack your lands, and then bring them back into play. And if you sack Flagstones, you get a free plains out of it. Island Sanctuary, if you're drawing extra cards, you can draw less of them and make it so people can't attack you. It's a good idea to have. Nevermore, also, again, if someone has a nasty commander, you can just tell them no, very politely. Ghostly Prison, it's good for people who want to attack you. You can also tell them no. Leyline of Sanctity, if people want to target you with things, you can politely tell them no. Endless Horizons, this is really handy. You usually don't search out all of your planes, you search out some of your planes, because if you search out all of them and then it dies, now your library has no more planes in it. But it is a nice way to make sure you get a land every turn. Sphere of Safety. You may have noticed a lot of enchantments so far, and auras included. That's a lot of enchantments. You can politely tell people no. Sigil of the Empty Throne. If you're playing a lot of enchantments, you can make some angels and then win with angels. This is kind of a lame way to win, I think. On to some artifacts that aren't equipments. We got Elixir of Immortality, just in case all of your stuff is in your graveyard. We've got Nevinyaro's Disc, in case someone has a lot of stuff and you would like them to not have that stuff. We also have Contagion Engine, again, if people have stuff. Moving on to some sorceries. I don't have any instants in the deck, actually. We've got Steel Shaper's Gift, again, another way to go get equipments. We've got Retether, bringing back all auras from your graveyard to play onto your creatures, in case all your auras are dead. We've got Large Explosions. We've got Divine Reckoning, because if you only have one creature, you're cool keeping it. But that deck over there probably wants to keep more than one creature in play. Tell them no, politely. Wrath of God, in case you also need to tell someone no, politely. 3 Dreams, Another good way to get auras, because you can go get 3 of them. That's better than 1. We've got Route, really handy because you can play it as an instant, and politely tell someone no. It's better than Fog. Costs a lot, but better than Fog. Akroma's Vengeance, also for telling people no. Now we move on to some auras. These are going to get fun. We start off with Ethereal Armor. +1/+1 for each enchantment you control in First Strike. This gets big fast. First Strike's also handy. We've got Daily Regimen. A good mana sink, gives you some +1/+1 counters. Also gives that Contagion Engine something to do later. We've got Hyena Umbra. Gives it First Strike and gives it Totem Armor. Saves it from dying. Got Triclopean Sight. Vigilance is good because it allows your guy to block. Also untaps the guy, and it has Flash, so it's a surprise. We've got Flicker Form. Does save your creature and all the auras that are on it. Unfortunately, you will have to re-equip all equipments, but there's worse things in the world. We've got Spirit Mantle. Gives it protection from creatures. This is handy because that means you can't block. Spirit Loop, Lifelink, and puts it back in your hand when it hits the bin, so you can do it again. We've got Inviolability, means that your creature doesn't take any damage. This comes in handy, especially when being blocked. We got Pentarch Ward, gives it protection from a chosen color, and draws you a card when it comes into play. A fun fact, kids, if you give your creature protection from white, it would normally remove all white enchantments that are currently enchanted on it. Pentarch Ward has a special clause that says that wouldn't remove it, but any other ones, like the ones you just saw, and more you will see, will fall off. This is a pain in the butt. Battle Mastery, give it Double Strike. This is never a bad thing. Angelic Destiny, +4/+4, flying in First Strike. Never bad. When a creature dies, put this in your hand, do it again. That's not bad. Armored Ascension, +1/+1 for each planes. Yes, please. Celestial Mantle, +3/+3 is okay. Doubling your life total is more than okay. And Eldrazi Conscription. Go ahead, read the card. I don't have to say any words about it. Moving on to some equipments, we've got Sigil of Distinction, another fine mana sink, and another decent thing for Contagion Engine to actually be doing. We've got Basilisk Collar, because Lifelink is good, and Death Touch is good, especially if you have First Strike. We've got Golem Skin Gauntlet. It's good if you have a lot of equipment, and it's really cheap to throw on a guy. We've got Executioner's Hood, in case someone isn't playing white and you think that blocking is for babies. We've got Swiftfoot Boots for haste and hexproof. I do not like Shroud in this deck. I avoid it if I can because Shroud means you can't equip or enchant anymore. So I got hexproof. We've got Hammer of Ruin. Threw that in here because every once in a while someone has a Sword of Feast and Famine, and you would like to politely tell them no. Champion's Helm. Again, more hexproof. Really only good if you put on your commander, not one of those 5 other guys I've got. But +2/+2 and hexproof is always good on a guy. Stratascythe. This is pretty much an armored ascension, but you scratch the flying and make it an equipment instead. At least for this deck. It does also count other people's planes, not just yours, so if anyone else is playing a white deck, they are pumping up your creature. You should kill them last. We have Loxodon Warhammer, because I don't have a lot of trample in here, and I really like Lifelink. This is also the uncommon version, not the rare version, so bonus points. That's a thumbs up. You can't see it. Dark Steel Plate, indestructible. It's indestructible. The thing it's equipped to is indestructible. Basically, nothing's going to die. Whisper Silk Cloak. This is my only Shroud, but also because it's my only unblockable. I will go ahead and put this on last, basically. We've got Fire Shrieker. It's more Double Strike. Always good to have. We've got Grafted Exoskeleton, because sometimes someone's gaining a lot of life and you would like to politely tell them no, and then kill them with Infect. Then we've got Argentum Armor. +6/+6 is good. Destroying targeted permanent is usually better. You may notice that I've been missing a few equipments in here, some that are really good, and you're wondering, Dan, why aren't you playing these particular equipments? Are you out of money? And my answer is yes, I am now out of money because I have them. I do have all of the Cauldron pieces. We've got Shield, making all of the Cauldron pieces indestructible. We've got Helm, which gives First Strike, Trample, and Haste. It's another good haste engine in the deck, and it can give you a 9/9 randomly if you need it, if you have all 3 pieces. 9/9, you say? But that says 4/4. +5, +5, and exiling creatures when it deals damage to them is good, because then when people block, they're gone forever. Oh yeah, and in case you were wondering where the other ones are, we got me some swords. I got me all the swords. I have the original ones, not the ones from the vaults or anything like that. No foils though, because I am made of meat and not of money. But Sword of Fire and Ice draws you a card and deals 2 damage. Body and Mind gives you a wolf and mills 10. This can actually be the best one in Commander if you can mill faster than someone can draw. This one gains you 3 life and brings a creature from your graveyard to your hand. That one's not so good. Every once in a while you will have like Pure Steel Paladin in your bin, and that guy's really nice to have again. Sword of Feast and Famine. This is the best one. This is the one that everyone should have in all of their decks, ever of all time, assuming you're going to be dealing damage at some point. Because it untaps all your lands, and then you can play spells. And then we'll end it off with War and Peace. This one can be really handy, mostly because it's life gain for you and extra damage for them. If you hit someone who's drawn a lot of cards, it can be really bad. Remember that protection from white does mean that all white enchantments will be falling off, and so that is bad. You want to avoid that if you have a lot of enchantments on. And that's my Voltron deck. Pay attention for the next deck tech I've got, because I have a deck that basically says screw the rules. I don't have money, but screw the rules anyways. Bye-bye.